What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Emma if you're new here, and I'd love to talk about all things Peloton, cycling, and fitness. So be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I post every single Sunday, and today's video I am scared. I'm going to be doing the hardest run from every instructor on Peloton on the tread. I anticipate it being very, very hard. I'm going to split it into two parts. I just did the top rated run of every Peloton instructor, and that was a lot of fun. We had some good times. It wasn't the hardest. This is going to be a lot harder. So I'm excited to challenge myself. I'm definitely not like an advanced runner, but I would like to say I can hold my own. So we'll see how I feel after these classes. I'm just going to go in alphabetical order like I did last time. So the first runner up today is Adrian Williams, and his hardest rated run is a 30-minute hit run, but it's only tagged intermediate, and there is a tag for advanced. So I do have some hope that maybe this run won't kill me, although intermediate hit run is still going to be pretty bad, and it's 30 minutes, which is like long because I was doing a lot of 20-minute runs in the top rated runs. But you know, I like the 30-minute length. I feel like I get a really good workout in. It's just that I know it's going to be a little hard. He's like screaming in this photo, so that's slightly terrifying. And it is from August 29th, 2020, and I like thoroughly believe the older the class, just like the harder it is. Like I think they keep getting easier, but I don't know if that's in my head, but that's what I believe. So I also think that this run will be hard. So, you know, it's a Monday morning. This is really gonna kick off the week, kick off the workout for the week, and let's just go to the gym and do this hard run and hopefully not die. I just got back from the gym, and man, that run was tough. So it started out, Adrian was like, oh, I had stuff planned for this run, but then this was filmed back in 2020, and he's like, oh, like yesterday, Chadwick Boseman, who was, I think, like the lead actor of Black Panther, I actually don't watch a lot of movies, so I'm not sure who this is, had just passed away from dealing with cancer. And he's like, so we're just gonna like make it super hard today to like honor this dude. Like obviously Adrian really liked him and looked up to him, and he fulfilled his promise. Honestly, it wasn't too bad until like the last 6 minutes were absolute killer. But essentially we did a little bit of a jogging warm up. Things were looking good. Then we did 5 1-minute pushes with 1 minute recovery, which was like fine, except the incline was at 2 the entire time. The pushes, he kept saying like, don't go over 7.5, which is like not that fast. So I was going 7.5 because he's like, it's gonna get harder later. And then the recovery was 5 to 6.5. I did 5. You know what? I'm just proud of myself for still running. It was definitely like hard. You had to push yourself, but yeah, I was like, I'm not going over 5, especially with the incline too. Like it's such a small incline, but it really makes a difference. And then after that, we went into like sprints, 1 minute on, 1 minute off. Incline was still at 2, I believe. And I did 8 speed during that. And then when I was doing my minute off, I did 5 again. And you know, that was like hard, but it was manageable. I'm like, yeah, you know, like I'm doing this. This really isn't that bad, which is kind of what I should have known that something was going to happen. So then we have 5.5 minutes of class left, and he's like, all right, we're going to do 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, like sprint, and bump your incline up to 4. So then I was doing 4% incline and 8 sprint, and that was so hard. And then the last 2, he's like, bump up to 6 incline. And when I went up to the 6th incline, I'm like, the highest I can do is 7.5 sprint. Like I can't do 8 sprint and 6 incline. Like this is like sprinting up a hill. It was very, very hard, especially because the recoveries like aren't walking. But I really thought the rest of the class was very manageable. I feel like people gave it a very hard rating because the last 5 minutes are like so fresh in their mind, and the last 5 minutes were absolutely killer. But besides the last 5 minutes, it was a fun run. Adrian is just such a like charismatic dude. We were really jamming. The music was good. It was like EDM, and I like EDM music to run to. So I felt like I got a really good workout in. I definitely went a little bit faster than I normally do. I think I went around like 3.2, 3.3 miles for the 30-minute class, and I'm usually a little slower than that, but we were really pushing it today, and that incline basically the entire run was killer. So I would definitely recommend trying it out if you want a harder hit run. You won't die. I survived it, so you can too. It is now like a week and a half later. I went on a work trip up to San Francisco last week, and then I came back, and for Memorial Day, my boyfriend and I actually went to go see the Grand Canyon because I've never seen it. But that was like a long trip, and I basically didn't work out for an entire week. I thought that I would have time like when I was on my work trip at least, and I just didn't have time. So this is probably the longest break that I've had from exercise for a long time, and it's not a bad thing. I'm just ready to get back into it. It was a very fun work trip and vacation, but you know, now I'm ready to get back to the grind. I've been taking classes the last 2 days, so I'm like kind of back into the groove, and now I'm ready to get back into the hardest runs class. I am going to take them slightly out of order just to fit my schedule better, because the next instructor is Andy Spears, but his hardest run is 45 minutes long, and today is just a 30-minute run day. I do not have time for 45 minutes. It'll be nice. Maybe tomorrow I can take the 45-minute run, but today I'm just going to skip ahead to Bex. So I'll be taking Bex Gentry's 30-minute intervals run from July 12th, 2019. Her hardest run is tagged as advanced. I think it will be pretty hard. I feel like Bex is pretty tough, but she'll also try to let you have a good time during it. So, you know, could be a fun time. I don't really know the music. I think it's EDM, like based on the artist, but we'll see. I'm not sure like what kind of EDM it'll be, but I have a lot of trust in Bex. I know it will be hard, but I think hopefully it will be fun. So let's go to the gym and get this run in. That run humbled me so fast. I'm pretty sure that is the hardest run I've ever done on Peloton. I don't know if it's like just because I took a week break from exercising and now like this is my first time running again, or if it was legitimately that hard. I am leaning towards it being legitimately that hard, but I was actually dying during this run. So it started off, everything was good. We had like a 6-minute warm up, which was all jogging, which is what I expected. And she said jog should be like, I think 5.5 to 7. So I was like, you know what? I'm feeling good today. Let's do a 6 jog. Like that's like a pretty fast jog for me. Like I'm not going to go over 6 if they say jog basically. I'm like, you know what? Let's do a 6-speed jog. So, you know, first 6 minutes going well. And then after the warm up, that's when things started to really go south. So the intervals were essentially like 2 minutes on, 1 minute off. And then we'd repeat that, and then we'd go up a minute. So then it'd be 3 minutes on, 1 minute off, do that again, and then 4 minutes on, 1 minute off, and do that again. And then the second time we repeated the same timed interval, we'd go from 0% incline to 2% incline. And the 2% incline is just like what absolutely killed me. I feel like everything else was going like okay, and then the 2% incline was just so hard. So she said the interval should be between 7 and 10, and you know, I was just coming off that 6-speed jog feeling good, and I just went too hard out of the gate. Like I should have known since it was tagged advanced that I should be like scraping the bottom of these intervals, but I was still feeling good. So I started out with 8 speed for the first 2 minutes. And then when she was like 2% incline, I'm like, okay, I can't do 8 speed again because the recovery is also jogging. And we'll get to that in a second. But for the intervals, I was like, okay, I'm going to go down to 7.5 for the 2-minute 2% interval. And then after that, I was just hitting 7. And I'm just like, you know what, we're just going to scrape by for the rest of the class and like try to hit these intervals. And I am proud to say I hit most of them except for at the end for the last 4-minute interval at 2%. I was just like, I literally can't do this. So for the last 2 minutes, I went down to 6.7, which honestly, like I'm okay with. I feel like I gave it my all and I'd rather like modify a little bit and keep going. Like what I was really struggling with was the 2% incline. So instead of going down to 0% incline, like I stayed at the 2%, I just lowered my speed. So it still felt very, very hard, but it felt like if I kept that 7 speed and 2% incline, I was gonna like fall off the treadmill. Like I was just so dying. And then for the 1 minute recoveries, she was like, okay, we're gonna do a jog and then you're going to add 0.2 each time. So like factor that in mind that you'll be adding like 0.8 by the end when you're picking your initial jog speed, which I do appreciate that she like tells us that up front, because otherwise I might have picked 6 jog, but I was like, nope, 5.5, we're scraping the bottom. And it went okay, except after the 3 minute at 2%, I was like, I literally like need to walk. My heart rate was like 185, which is just ridiculously high for me. So I did walk one of the intervals, but besides that, I added 0.2 each time. And you know what? I tried my best. I felt like I just couldn't do it if I didn't modify at all. So I'm not unhappy with the run. I still went very far. I think I went like 3.5 miles. I did walk out at the end for like 5 minutes because I just needed so much recovery time. But yeah, besides that, it was a good run. Like Bex, I really, really enjoy her. I feel like she lays out the class plan ahead of time, which I want. Like I want to know what to expect. And then she was talking about like running marathons and her life. And I felt like the class like went by fast. I was just also dying during it. So if you want a very hard run, I would recommend this one. It is very hard and definitely harder than the first run I took like a week and a half ago. We'll see. Now I'm kind of nervous to continue this, but I definitely learned today that I need to be like scraping the bottom of these intervals. I'm not taking any liberties the next run. We're just scraping the bottom. I also think interval runs are kind of the hardest because it's more about like maintaining your pace and like not really ever getting that walking recovery. But I'm proud of myself for doing it. I survived. The only other bad thing was somebody that I knew came over to run on the treadmill next to me, and they're like, oh my gosh, hi. And I'm like, I'm literally dying. Like my face is bright red. I'm like dripping sweat. It was really, really gross, but you know, it was fine. Did the thing. I'm proud of myself, and hopefully I'll just keep getting better. I am considering like running another half marathon this summer, so I really need to like get up my running game. It is now the next day and I'm feeling rejuvenated. I'm ready to do another hardest rated run. I am a little bit scared because yesterday's was so hard, but you know, we'll see how it goes. So I'm gonna go back to Andy Speer's run today because I have a little more time to work out. It is a 45-minute hills run by Andy Speer from June 23rd, 2019. All of these are from like 2019 because that's like when Peloton was the hardest. And it's only tagged intermediate, which, you know, makes me feel a little bit better. I am worried about it being a hills run though, because incline really, really kills me. But the music is like very much up my alley. We got some pop music. I Love It by Icona Pop. We got some like alternative music, Semi-Charmed Life by Third Eye Blind, Hey Ya by Outkast. Like the music is really good. So hopefully the combination of good music and Andy's personality will just make the 45 minutes fly by and be as painless as possible. But you know, we'll see. So let's go to the gym and do this 45-minute run. That run was hard, but after yesterday's run, it honestly wasn't that bad, just because I feel like yesterday's run was so hard. But essentially, Andy broke it down into 3 different sections. Well, 4 if you count like a warm-up. And the warm-up was nice and long. It was 8 minutes. We did some walking and some like foot stretches, which always feels good and like really preps me for the run. And then we went into a jog. The first section of the class was 2 minutes on, 1 minute off. I believe he said to do a run and that like 6 was the minimum. I went 6.5 because I knew that there would be incline. So we started, I believe, like going up over 2, 3, 4 incline, and then each interval we would like go up by 1. So then the next time we do 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, etc. We did that 4 times. So that was already getting hard. I will say the recoveries I walked, Andy's like, you can either jog or walk, but he mostly walked. And I would rather walk and then hit all of the intervals than jog and then just like not have good intervals. So I was fine walking, like no complaints. I'll take any walking I can get. And then after that, we did kind of like a weirder thing. And I actually felt like it was kind of hard to follow. I don't know if that was on me or if he was like missing some cues, but we would do 30 seconds of a run at 2%, and then you'd bump it up to 8% incline and then do a sprint. So my run was only 6 because I'm like, I can't do something more. And then my sprint was 7, which is not a sprint for me, but when you're doing 8% incline, like it is, and it was really getting my heart rate up. We did have 90 seconds recovery in between these intervals, and we did them 4 times. But honestly, like I needed that full 90 seconds to recover. Like going 7 speed up an 8% incline is very, very hard for me. Like I was really working it. So although the numbers don't sound that high, it was definitely still a very hard workout and a good workout. And then the last section was my favorite part. He just did a rolling hill for 10 minutes. And I just feel like rolling hills are like kind of fun. We never went super high. I think the highest we went was 6% incline. And he's basically like, you chose the speed. He did tell us to add like 0.1 every so often. So I think I started at 6 and then I went up to 6.5 towards the end. So definitely not like a super speedy class, but the hill part of it makes it really, really hard. And then actually my favorite part of the class was there was a 4-minute cool down, and I don't think I've ever taken a class before that has a 4-minute cool down. They all have like 1 minute, and then I just like walk after it for a long time to like bring my heart rate down. But we walked a little bit, we had like a little bit of a shakeout run, a light jog, and then we walked again. It was a very pleasant cool down. But besides that, the music was good, and Andy was really in a talkative mood today. So if you like instructors talking like the entire class, definitely take this run because he was really chatted it up, which was nice. I felt like the class like went by pretty quickly for a 45-minute class. Like obviously it wasn't like a snap of the fingers and it was over, but I feel like 45 minutes classes definitely have a tendency to drag, and you know, he kept it moving. I like the different blocks so that you're kind of like always on to the next thing, and I really like the rolling hill at the end. I thought it was a good class, but definitely a hard class. But if you're looking for a hard class that still has like walking recovery in it, I would recommend this one compared to like yesterday's that just had no walking recovery. I think that's kind of like the difference between an advanced tag and an intermediate tag though. I think I went only a little over 4 miles for the 45 minutes, but it makes sense because I was going slower because I was mostly running up hills. So overall, 2 thumbs up. I enjoyed the run today, and I'm definitely more excited to try more hardest runs in the future. Like I knew this video was going to be hard, especially because I'm not like the best runner in the world. But man, yesterday's run really killed me. But today's run, I'm feeling like a little more back on track. It is now a couple days later. It's actually Monday again. So really gonna start off the week with a bang. I'm ready to do my next hardest run, and the instructor up is Daniel McKenna, which definitely worries me because I think that he's pretty hard in every single class I take by him. He's very like no BS in my opinion. I do really like him, so I hope this will be a good run, but I am worried. It's tagged advanced and it's a 30-minute intervals run, and I feel like intervals runs usually just means like no recovery or no walking, so that's usually where, you know, it's a little hard. It is all EDM music, and like I said, I do really like Daniel, so I know it will be hard, but I'm hoping Daniel will make it fun and not kill me too much on this Monday morning. So let's go to the gym and get right on into it. That was definitely my favorite class in this video so far, but it was also the easiest. But I also think it was just like a good class in general. So we warmed up a jog for 6 minutes, I believe, and the second half of that was up like a 2 to 3% incline. So a little bit up a hill. Then we brought the incline down to 0.5 and left it at 0.5 for the entire time, and like 0.5, you're not going to notice that. Like that's such a small incline. And the idea was that we would do 2 minutes, then 3 minutes, then 4 minutes, then 5 minutes, then 3 minutes of intervals with 90-second recovery in between. And the recovery, you also were supposed to be jogging. So for jogs, he said under 7. I went 5.5, and for the intervals, he said 7 to 10, and I went 7. I was really debating at the beginning. I'm like, do I want to try to do 7.5? But honestly, at the end of the day, I'm glad I stuck with 7. Like, I might have been able to do 7.5, but then I would have been like actively dying during it. And instead I did the 7, and I just felt like really good during it. And instead of feeling like bad or tired or just completely gassed at the end, I felt like energized at the end of the run, even though it was still like a hard run. Like, I got a little over 3 miles in, no complaints, but it just felt like way better to take it slightly easier and then like really nail the intervals. I never had to like compromise on what I was doing or like go down because I felt like I couldn't do it. I was just like doing the solid 7 and 5.5 jog, and Daniel was super funny. He was telling a bunch of stories, definitely like tried to pass the time as best as you could. And I think that it is hard for intervals classes, especially for like a 5-minute interval where nothing is changing. I think he kept it pretty interesting that I was still like engaged and like felt good and like passed the time pretty quickly. And then the music was also really good. It was EDM. He said he spent a lot of time curating it, and I just felt like it was really good, like heavy beat running EDM music while not being like super heavy EDM. I don't know how to describe it. Like, I don't have good terms for different EDM, but I did really like the EDM in this music. It was like just a solid playlist. So overall, really a 10 out of 10. I feel like it's probably not his hardest run actually, but I guess if you like pushed yourself and like actually went 10 on the intervals, or even if you went 8, like obviously it'd be way harder. I just took it easier today, but it was still a good hard run. So no complaints. I highly recommend that class. It is now a couple days later. It's Thursday now, and you see I'm not in my normal spot, and that's because I'm traveling for work. So I'm in San Francisco, and I actually had to travel for work like 2 weeks ago, and I didn't work out at all. So I don't like feel the pressure to work out while I travel, but I just know specifically this time I'm visiting, I'm seeing like a bunch of friends, we're going out and eating a ton of food, and it's just gonna like feel better if I can get a workout in the morning. I also feel like I don't sleep as well, but I don't know if that's just like a mind thing at this point. But it is like 6:30 a.m. We got time to do a quick 30-minute workout, and you know what's better than doing a hardest run? So I'll be doing the 30-minute Hidden Hills run by Jermaine Johnson from February 22nd, 2022, and it's only tagged intermediate, which at this point practically means it's going to be easy. So yeah, I don't know if I've ever done a Hidden Hills run. I really like Hidden Hills rides, but I feel like that's a completely different vibe because on a bike you like can stop moving. So we'll definitely see. I'm hoping because it's intermediate there will be like some walking segments, but you know, only one way to find out. I do really like Jermaine, so it should be a good class, and let's go try to find this hotel gym and do this workout. I just finished my run and got out of the shower, and I actually really enjoyed the run today. Maybe I am a Hidden Hills fan on the tread as well, but I also really like Jermaine, so that probably contributed to it. But we did a warm-up, and then we did a rolling hill, so just like a jog. I did a jog at 6 speed, which I feel like is like a pretty decent jog for me, especially with incline. It was going between 2% incline and 6% incline. 2% incline's not bad, but like 6% incline's pretty hard. Then we went into the hit section where it was a minute on, minute off. And the minute off was walking. So I did 4 speed, which was great. The minute on was like 30 seconds run, which I started doing 7, but then I like added some each time. And then a sprint for the last 30 seconds, which I started at 8 and added on. So by the end of it, I believe there was like 4 or 5 intervals. I was at 8 and 9 speed for like the run, sprint respectively, and I felt like that was pretty hard. We also had like a minute to recover each time, which was very nice. I will say these treadmills completely sucked. Like, I'm so spoiled now, but this was also a very bad treadmill because there was no like button to easily adjust the speed or the incline. You had to like use the touch screen, and it wasn't that bad when I was going from walk to running, but when I was trying to go from running to walk, I was like shaking too much that I couldn't like hold the button. Like the touch screen would move essentially, and it was like really hard to lower the speed. That's like 100% just because I'm in this hotel. Like I'm still happy they have a treadmill, but definitely wasn't a huge fan of that treadmill, but got through the hit intervals, even though sometimes it took a little long to adjust my speed back down. Then we went into another rolling hill, and then we went into another hit section that was like only 30-second intervals that were just supposed to be sprints. So overall, definitely a hard run, but I feel like no runs are like that hard when you have walking recovery, because at least you can like recover a little bit. Definitely like pushed myself, got a good workout, but it wasn't like I was absolutely dying. Like I just feel like anything that has walking recovery is better than like an intervals run, which is just running the whole time. And Jermain was great. I really love him. He was super motivational in this run. So if you like motivational runs, highly recommend it. And yeah, it was a good run. Glad that I fit it in before work today, and I highly recommend it. Really great run. It's now 2 days later. I am still in San Francisco. It's actually Saturday today, so I am flying back in a little bit. But I figured I could squeeze in a workout right now because I'm like not really doing anything. And if I'm like sitting on the plane, it just feels good to get a little bit of movement in before like going to the airport. I don't know. I always feel like dead at the airport, even though the flight is literally only an hour from SF to LAX. Just like the experience of going to the airport is not fun. So the next hardest run is Jess King, which I know this is just going to be bad. It is a 30 minutes intervals run, which I've just gone ahead and deemed that that's the hardest kind of run you can get. It is tagged intermediate instead of advanced, so maybe that can be like a little bit of my saving grace, but I have a feeling we're not going to get any walking breaks. And it's from November 24th, 2020, and it's mostly like EDM music. I really like Jess, so hopefully her personality will make the run go by fast enough. I also ate a breakfast sandwich this morning for breakfast, so yeah, that's definitely going to be weighing me down a little bit. But you know, we're going to try our best, and I'm glad to just like fit in one more workout before I kind of just sit around for the rest of the day. Also, the lighting in this hotel room is just like awful. I've tried every angle I can get, and there's just no good angles. It is now 2 days later. It's Monday and I'm back in LA. I didn't have time to film like my rep out for the last class I took. Back in San Francisco, I was going to get kicked out of the hotel, like I had to check out. So I was like, it's okay, I wrote notes and I'll just do it now. So I really liked Jess King's run. It was kind of reminiscent to me of Sweat Steady, but like on the tread, but it's not exactly the same thing. I don't know, it just kind of like felt that way. She felt a little more serious, like we were getting the work done, but like she was still in a good mood and it was still a really fun class. I will say she talked less than she usually does. I feel like she usually talks like a lot, but sometimes you just had to like crank out these intervals. So we did warm up and then we did intervals, and the intervals were like 2 minutes long and then 3 minutes long and then 4 minutes long and then 5 minutes long, which I'm quickly learning is a popular like intervals class format. But with Jess, you started at 2 minutes, and I think I did 7 speed with 0 incline. And then the next time she's like, okay, add like incline. It was only like 2% or something, but then you're also going 3 minutes. So you're like adding a minute of length while you're also adding some incline. And then for 4 minutes, I believe you added more incline. And then 5 minutes, you added speed, like only 0.1 every minute. But it's just something to think about. For me, I did 7 speed for the 2 to 3 minute intervals. And then I went down to 6.5 speed for 4 to 5 because we were adding a lot of incline or adding speed. And, you know, I'm just realistic with myself. I still felt like it was a really hard workout, but it felt good to, yeah, hit those intervals, and like those speeds felt really, really good to me. And then the recovery, she said you could walk, but she kind of clearly wanted you to jog. So, you know, I'm coming in with like the slowest jog possible of 5.5. I'm pretty sure that I could walk at 5 speed. Like I have pretty long legs, so 5.5 is pretty slow for me, but you know what? I'm still jogging. I'm doing the thing. It was a hard workout, but it felt good, and I would highly recommend if you're like looking for intervals rides, or if you like Jess, or I don't know, it just felt like sweat steady vibes. I mean, I was sweating steady, but I sweat steady like every single run. So really enjoyed that run. Definitely like kind of middle of the road for hardness. I'm still very scarred from Bex class, but today I think that Bex class might be beat. I am very, very scared. So the next instructor is Jess Sims, who I'm really, really excited about, but her hardest run is a 45-minute run. And on Monday, I do yoga. So I don't want to also do a 45-minute run. That's like a little too long for me. So I'm going to skip Jess. I'll come back to her. So today I'm going to do Hoszking, and his hardest run is a 30-minute intervals run. Lots of interval runs are the hardest, and it is tagged advanced, so I am scared. It's from January 25th, 2022, and I literally don't know what this music is. I assume it's EDM, but I recognize nothing. I took John for the first time when I was doing the video that was like best runs by each instructor, and I absolutely loved him. So hopefully I'll absolutely love him here, even if he's gonna go a little hard on me. It is Monday, we can kick off the week with a bang. So let's go to the gym and just get right on into it. That run was a roller coaster, but I actually really, really enjoyed it. So we started off with, I think like a 6 or 7 minute warm up. It was pretty long, and we walked the first minute, and then we started jogging, and he's like, all right, like, we're not walking until the end now. And I'm like, okay, yes, I knew that because it was tagged advanced. So we did like a jogging, a little bit of a run in the warm up, and then we got into it. He said that there would be 5 3-minute intervals and then 2-minute breaks in between them where we would jog. And all the other interval runs I've taken, I've only had a 1-minute break. So I was like, good. Like this is starting off to a good start. We have 2-minute breaks, even though it's a jog. I'm going to do 5.5 speed, which was the minimum of what he called out. But I was like, I know that that's like a good speed for me if I'm going to be running the rest of the time. So our first interval starts off, we're at 0% incline. He's like 7 to 10 speed. So I'm like, all right, 7 speed. And I'm feeling really good. Like 7 speed, I can definitely go a little faster than that. But I learned my lesson in the past to not overshoot on these advanced classes. So the first interval comes and goes. It's all good. We're doing the jog recovery, and then John is like, all right, our next interval, we're going to do 2% incline. And I was like, oh no, because I thought that the incline would just like keep going up. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try to scrape the bottom. So we did 2% incline, 7% speed. That's definitely like pretty hard for me, but I made it through it. And then he's like, all right, we're going back down to flat incline for the third interval, which was really nice. So basically we did like 0% incline, 2% incline, 0% incline, 2% incline, and 0% incline for like the 5 intervals. So it was nice to alternate. It kept it interesting, but I think that it would have been too hard if it like kept adding on, because 7 speed is not the fastest I can go, but it's like kind of close to the fastest I can go when I'm like going up a steep incline. So that was all good, pretty much all dandy until the end, because he did tell us that it was going to be like 5 3-minute intervals with 2-minute recoveries. So literally as soon as he says that and the warm-up was done, it was 7-minute warm-up. So there was 23 minutes left. And like I do the math like immediately, and I'm like, this doesn't add up. Are we just not going to have a 1-minute cool down, or are we going to have a 2-minute interval at the end? And like we had a 2-minute interval at the end then, but that like annoys me because in my head I'm just like, what is going to happen? Like there's a 1 minute that's not accounted for. But yeah, so our last interval was 2 minutes, but then he was like, let's bring it up to like, I don't know, 8 to 12 speed. I did 8, felt pretty good. In the last minute, he's like, add anything else you got. I added 0.1. So I did 8 for 1 minute, 8.1 for another minute. Really felt like I got it all good at the end. I think like for the higher ranges, he was calling out like 7 to 10 and then 7 to 11 and then 8 to 12. If you can do intervals at like 11 or 12 speed, oh my gosh, you are so fast. But you know, I was chilling at the bottom and still felt like I got a really good workout in. John was super fun. I really enjoy his personality. In my last video, I think I said that he was really serious and everybody commented and was kind of like, no, he's really goofy. And he was definitely more goofy in today's run. So like that was fun. And he was like modeling the intervals off of days of the week. So he was like, oh, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday interval, which I thought was cute. And the music was like EDM music, kind of like chill EDM. I didn't know most of it, but it was good running music. So overall, really enjoyed this run. Definitely one of my favorites from this video so far. And I'm proud of myself for getting through it. It was a good way to kick off a Monday. It is now like 3 days later. It's Thursday and I'm ready to do another hardest run. I am gonna leave the Jess Sims 45-minute run till tomorrow because I don't want to take any like class at the gym tomorrow. Today I'm gonna take bar, so I want a slightly shorter run. So I'm gonna go to Jocelyn Thomas rules class. It is a 30-minute hit run, tagged intermediate, which you know, always good. I anticipate some walking. From March 27th, 2022. I honestly don't really remember what I thought of Jocelyn. I only took her once so far, which was the last video I did about the best runs of each instructor. But the music for this run looks absolutely amazing. It's all like pop EDM remixes. And yeah, I think I'll really enjoy the music. And I also enjoy hit runs a lot because usually you get to do some sprints, but then you get to do some walking. Like, I feel like it's a good balance. It really gets my heart rate up, but I don't feel overexerted. So I'm excited for this class. We'll see. Maybe it'll be super hard. It's tagged intermediate though, so you know, fingers crossed. And let's go to the gym and do this run. I was not the biggest fan of that run. I honestly don't know if I would consider it a hit run. It was just very chaotic. I hope I remember everything we did because we did a lot. So the run started off, we're like doing our warm up, we're walking, and then we jog, and then she's like, okay, bring it down. We're gonna do like foot exercises and like doing high knees and stuff like that, like stuff to like warm up your body. And I'm like, okay, it's like a little weird that she had us jog before that, but like whatever. I like, you know, these foot exercises. I should probably do them every time I run, but I only do it if it's in the class. So I'm like, okay, cool. And then we like went back up to a jog, and then we like brought the speed way back down to like 1 to 2 to do more foot exercises. So that was like already weird that we were like throwing in random jogs. And then we went into a run during the warm-up, and then we went into a sprint during the warm-up. That was like only like, I think 10 seconds, but it was just very like odd in my opinion. And then from there we went back down to a run, and then we just started our first interval. So it was like very odd. I thought the warm-up was weird. Then the intervals were a whole nother story. So the first block was 60 seconds on, 30 seconds off. 60 seconds should be a run, and 30 seconds should be a jog flat. So it's like, this is not ideal for me because I like the walking, but I'm like, okay, whatever, like I can do this. So I did 7 speed run and then 5.5 walk. And like, that didn't feel too bad. I would have liked to push myself harder on the intervals, but I felt like I couldn't recover because first off, it was a jog, and then second off, it was only 30 seconds. Like, I don't know. I feel like I can recover during a jog, although it's hard for me, but then it needs to like be a long jog. Like 30 seconds of jogging is not recovering anything for me. So we did that entire block, and then with no break, we went into our second block. And this block was 90 seconds on, 90 seconds off. So it was nice that at least it was 1 to 1, but we still weren't walking during the off. So the intervals that were on were a run, where at first she called out the minimum was 6, but I did a 6.5. And the incline was 5%. So that was the push. That's a pretty hard push for me. Like, incline is killer. And then for the recoveries, it was 90 seconds of a jog. So I did 5.5 at 3%. And I actually like started at 5.5, but then I went down, I think to completely 5, if I remember correctly. Maybe I was like at 5.3 at one point, but then I think I went down to 5. And then for the intervals, she wanted you to add 0.5 for the last 30 seconds. So like do 60 seconds at 6 and then add 0.5 to 6.5. And then your next interval, she wanted you to start at whatever you ended at. So 6.5 and then go to 7 and then do 7 and 7.5 because there was 3 intervals. And I was like, literally, I can't, because first off, a jog up a 3% incline is like not recovery. So I'm not recovering at all from these intervals, and these intervals are already hard. So the first time I did 6.5 the whole way through because I didn't know that we were adding like the 0.5. And then the last 2 intervals, I just did 6 and then added the 0.5. But I just felt like at that point, it's like kind of an intervals run. It's kind of a hills run. Like it's 100% not hit because we're not getting like active recovery at all. Like I'm jogging up a hill. It's still too hard. And then we actually went into hit at the end where we did 30 seconds on and a minute off and the minute you could walk. So that was really nice. And I was like really pushing myself at the end. I think I was going like 9 speed for my intervals, and it just felt really good to like actually have that recovery. So I liked the last block. Absolutely hated the second block. And then the first block was kind of just like meh. Like it was kind of like an intervals run to me. It just wasn't hit. So this class just like wasn't really what I was expecting. And then I hated the format of it. And I didn't like that we went literally like directly into the second block from the first block. And I think we also did that with the third block. So like there just wasn't a lot of like recovery or like separation of the blocks, which in my opinion, like when I think of hit, I was ready to like go super, super hard, but then like have that time to recover. And I just felt like, yeah, this class like missed expectations. So then I'm just like in a bad mood. And then when I'm missing intervals, like it definitely depends on the day. Sometimes I'm okay with missing intervals, but then today I was just like mad that I was missing intervals, especially during the hill section, because I'm just like, this just wasn't like the vibe that I wanted. So overall, like really, really did not like this run. Definitely my least favorite so far. It wasn't the hardest. Well, I don't know. I feel like the Bex run, which I keep bringing up, I feel like that one was harder, but this one just like wasn't what I was expecting, which then like gets me in a worse mood. And then I'm just like not happy during it. So, oh well, you win some, you lose some. I've learned I'll probably never take another hit run with Jocelyn. So that's my takeaway from this. And yeah, we'll see how the rest of these runs go. It is now the next day. It's Friday, and you know I love Friday. The weekend is almost here, so let's just kick it off with a bang. I don't have any plans to take like any class or do other workouts today, so I'm gonna do the 45-minute run I've been pushing off. So it's a 45-minute hills run by Jess Sims, tagged advanced from July 9th, 2019. And I am afraid because I love Jess Sims. She's probably one of my favorite instructors on the tread, but she's hard, and a hills run is hard, and it's 45 minutes, and it's tagged advanced, and it's from 2019. So I really think that Jess is going to be bringing it today. The music is like kind of weird. I guess it's pop music. I don't know some of it, and then some of it is just like random pop music. So we'll see what the vibes are. I hopefully can get through this. I'm ready for the challenge. And if anyone can make me do this, it's Jess. So let's go to the gym and do this run. That run was so hard, but I also loved it while I was doing it, but I also was dying during it. So we started off with a warm-up. I believe it was 9 minutes. It was good. We did some foot stretches, always appreciated, did a little bit of a jog. And I like that she didn't lay out the entire class, but she's like, okay, the first thing we have up are 2 5-minute rolling hills that you're going to run during. So she's like, this is advanced speed, but obviously like modify if you have to, which I appreciate because obviously, like, I probably am not the target audience for advanced speeds, but a lot of the times during the classes, the instructors act like you have to be doing what they're calling out, and if you're not, you're like doing something wrong. And like sometimes you have to modify. If you can't hit it, it's better to like modify a little bit. than just to get discouraged. So I like that she's like, modify if you have to, obviously try not to. So for jogs, it was always 5.5 to 7, and for runs, it was 7 to 10. So she wanted me to run for 5 minutes at a 7 speed because I was not going over the bottom of the interval, and also do a rolling hill. The first one was bad, I'm not gonna lie, but the second one was killer. I don't remember exactly what we did. We changed every single like minute, but I think it was like 2 and then maybe like 4 and then 6 and then coming back down the first one, which is like steep but not the worst thing in the world. But then the second one was like 3 to 6 to 8 to 9 to 10. For the 9 and 10s, I was just totally dying by the end. I went down to 6 speed. I'm so very proud of myself for sticking to 7 speed for like the majority of those intervals. They were hard. You got a 2.5 minute recovery after each one where you were allowed to walk, and I needed to walk the whole time, and I was walking 3 speed, which is very, very slow for me, but I was dying. And then I also got my heart rate up during the 9 and 10 incline to like 195, which I don't think I've ever seen before. So I was like, oh my gosh, that's so high. Like I could not do the 7. I would have fallen off the treadmill, but I'm proud of myself for sticking to the 7 for the first full one. Like even that was like super, super hard. And then I wanted to go down to 6 for the entire second one, but I was like, no, you know what, we're gonna start at 7 and see how long we can do this, because I like was really ready to push myself today. So proud of myself for those intervals, even though I had to modify a little bit at the end. I did all the inclines she called out, so I was happy. And we kind of went into like a hit hill section. So it was 3 rounds of 60 seconds on, 60 seconds off, 90 seconds on, 60 seconds off. And we did a run again, so 7 to 10. I was doing 7, obviously. And I think the first time we did 5% incline, the second time we did 6% incline, and the third time we did 7% incline. And I did walking during the recoveries. She was also walking. Like I was just so dead from the rolling hills that obviously these were still like really hard pushes, but it just felt even more hard because of how much exertion I had given out for the rolling hills. And then we just ended with some sprints. So she's like, a sprint is 9 or above. And I'm like, you know what? Sorry, Jess, not for me. A sprint could be 8. Like I cannot do a 9 because we're also going up a hill. But I did like these intervals. So it was 4 minute on, minute off. And the minute was like broken into 15 seconds of jogging. So 5.5 flat. And then we went up the incline ladder every 15 seconds. We would add 1. So I think the first one was like 2, 3, 4, and then the second one was like 3, 4, 5, and then we just kept going up for the next 2. So overall, definitely a very, very hard run. Lots of hills. I wish that I had like some way to measure my elevation, because I just feel like we were really going up it today. It would be really interesting to see, but I don't have that info on the treadmill, unfortunately, and then like my Apple Watch can't detect that. But I'd be curious if you take it on a Peloton tread, what the elevation would be, because we were really going up the hills today. But highly, highly recommend if you want a hard hills run, especially one with lots of walking recovery. Like we were going at it at the intervals, but she also gave us a lot of recovery. She's like, work hard, rest hard, which I'm finding that those are kind of the runs that I gravitate towards more, which is like interesting, because if I want to run a half marathon, I should be gravitating towards like the interval runs instead. But you know what, we're doing what we can. So 10 out of 10 to today's run. Jess really brought it. It was a super fun run. If you want to really challenge yourself, I highly recommend. It is now the next day. It's Saturday, so it's the weekend, which is always awesome. And today I'm going to be doing my last run for this video. I will be doing a part 2 to this video. I just know this is already going to be like an hour long. So, you know, gotta cut it at some point. But I am very excited for today's run. It is a 30-minute hit and hills run by Kirsten Ferguson from December 21st, 2021. It's tagged intermediate, and the music looks amazing. It's all like R&B and rap, and I feel like it's all people I know. I see like Beyonce, Kanye West, Meek Mill. I just feel like the vibe is going to be really good. I really like the other hit and hill run that I took this video, and I think I really liked Kirsten the last time I took her, but we'll see. I don't completely remember, but I'm very excited for this run. It seems like it should be right up my alley, so let's go to the gym and get this run in. I liked that run. I didn't love it, but it was like middle of the road to good for me. First off, I love Kirsten. I just think she has a super fun personality and the music was great. It was very hype. This run was definitely like the easiest, hardest run I've done. I'm actually surprised that this was her hardest run. There was a ton of recovery time in this, which I think is like why I think it was kind of just okay for me. I know I sound kind of picky because when there's not enough recovery, I'm unhappy. And then when there's too much recovery, I'm unhappy. But I don't know. I just felt like there was a lot of recovery in this. So we did our 6-minute warm up, did some foot drills. Everything was good there. And then we went into a 4.5-minute rolling hill. And she said to do a jog. I did 5.5 because I did want to take it a little bit easier than yesterday, because yesterday was really hard. You can't do like a super, super hard run every single day, right? So I did 5.5 jog, and we did 2% incline, 4% incline, 6% incline, and then came back down the pyramid. That was like fairly easy. And then after that, I think we either got like a minute or 90 seconds of walking. So I was like, okay, I need to like pick it up because we're getting a lot of walking. Then we did 30-second sprints with 60-second recovery, where the 60-second recovery was also walking. So those sprints, I did 10, which felt really good and was definitely a push. Like I typically do 9 for sprints, but we just got so much recovery that I was like, I need to go up. Like it was definitely cool to hit those sprints, but at the same time, I feel like 30-second sprints, at least for me, we like try to ramp it up before the 30 seconds, but essentially it takes like 10 seconds for my treadmill to even ramp up to like that high of a speed. So then it's like not a 30-second sprint. So I don't know. I feel like 30-second sprints are kind of short, but we did those. That was fine. Then we did another rolling hill, 4.5 minutes, but this time we were doing 4, 6, 8 incline and then back down. So I went up to 6 speed just to like kind of push myself. And that was definitely like pretty difficult, felt pretty good. We got another 90-second recovery afterwards, and then we went into 5 30-second on, 30-second off hit intervals, and that I did 9 speed and then walked for the 30 seconds just because there was a little less recovery, so I didn't want to do 10 speed. Like my heart rate wasn't really recovering even with the 30-second break. It would only come down a little bit. So it felt good. Like definitely not the hardest run that I've done, probably the easiest I've done in this video, but honestly, like you can't do a super hard run every day. So I'm like not really complaining. It was still a really good workout. So if you want like an intro to hitting hills, but you definitely want like a lot of walking, I would recommend this class. And like Kirsten's super fun. The music's really good. I was very hyped. So overall, not a bad class, just like not super hard. So those are all my opinions for these runs that I'm going to do in this video. Definitely a very fun and challenging video to film. I really pushed myself taking these classes. Excited to film part 2. It honestly takes me a really long time to film these. I think this has been like over the span of a month. I definitely feel like I'm improving running, which is really good. I was really off running for a while, so it feels good to like get back at it. Definitely let me know if you're going to take any of these runs or if you have taken any of these runs and what you think and who your favorite tough instructor is on the tread. I'd be interested to know. That Bex Gentry run still is in my memory and it's still killing me. I hope you guys are staying safe, having an awesome week, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!